WWE could be making some massive changes to NXT, pretty good ones too. And on top of that, we're going to talk about a huge WWE departure and so much more right here on TAS. All right, guys, we're going to kick things off with some news from Dana White. You guys know the WWE Endeavor UFC merger is completed. Lawrence Epstein, we talked a little bit about him, and he did an interview with ESPN. He is the Senior Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer for UFC. And basically, he came out in this interview and he said they want to get to a point where every WWE fan is a fan of the UFC and vice versa. Now, after Dana White Contender Series, the show where fighters get the chance to fight for a contract in the UFC, Dana White came out and did a little press conference and he addressed this, and he says there's very little crossover. He says, Lawrence, I love you. One of the dumbest statements of all time. I don't know why he said that. I don't even know what to say to that. No, there is some crossover. Some people like WWE, some people like UFC, and some people like both, but I don't think there is going to ever be a day where we turn every UFC fan to a WWE fan or vice versa. And look, I actually kind of somewhat agree with this, but I also kind of disagree with this too. The reason why I agree with this is because for the longest time, MMA fans always kind of despised pro wrestling, right? I mean, look, if I'm just going to say this in the nicest way possible, a lot of UFC fans don't like WWE because it's fake. And the reality is a lot of WWE fans tend to like UFC because it is real. However, there are some serious synergies within both of these two companies and what they do, and I think a crossover does work. But one, it cannot be overdone. Two, I think there's more crossover from a business standpoint. If you watch this channel and you watched my video on this yesterday, we talked about UFC and WWE basically selling their pay-per-views in terms of a package to states or countries that want to bring them in. So hypothetically, if Australia wants to pay WWE to bring WrestleMania to Australia, then what they could do is package UFC with it for that weekend, so that way there is just this massive acquisition for the event. And I think that is a very big possibility, and that's where I see there being a big crossover between the two companies. From a business standpoint, I think both brands are incredibly strong, and they kind of have the same strategy. WWE obviously has top characters and top stars. UFC definitely has top fighters, but it's gotten to the point where WWE is more about the brand, and the same is applied to UFC. For certain people who like MMA, you can watch good MMA from other organizations, just like you could watch good wrestling from other organizations. But when you look at the brand in totality, they are just incredibly strong. You bring them together, there's a lot of crossover there. There's only one WWE star who I think could be really good in the UFC. It's Bobby Lashley. How likely do I think that is? I don't know. But we know he used to do MMA. With UFC, there's a lot more people who could benefit from going to WWE once they're done taking punches to the head. So the reality is, I understand where Dana White's coming from, and to a sense I agree, but I also disagree in the sense of business aspect. I think there is a lot of synergies and a lot of crossover appeal. Guys, I want to turn our attention to the WWE Royal Rumble 2024. Tropicana Field is taking Royal Rumble 2024. It's happening. It's in St. Petersburg, Clearwater, Florida, Tampa Bay area. Basically, what you guys need to know is that WWE is not joking around. The pay-per-view is taking place on a Saturday. The following Raw is going to be taking place in Tampa at Amalie Arena. Now, TKO Holdings press release, they've revealed that the 37th Royal Rumble it's coming back to Florida. Look, this is going to be huge for WWE. We know that Tampa Bay is a great market for WWE. We know that WWE has a lot of possibilities here for the Royal Rumble. Interestingly enough, Roman Reigns is not being advertised for the Royal Rumble, which is kind of confusing. It's kind of concerning too, because this is one of the big four. This is one of the big pay-per-views. The fact that Roman Reigns wouldn't be a part of it, I do find a little bit of an issue with. But at the end of the day, we'll see what happens. We'll get there. This is going to be crazy, man, because now TKO owns it's a new company. Endeavor owns WWE and UFC. Oh, shit. Things are really about to change here. And with the Royal Rumble, this is going to be a big test for WWE. We got Fastlane. We got Survivor Series. We got Crown Jewel. We got Royal Rumble. We got some major pay-per-views happening. You have to wonder, what is WWE going to bring to the table? The industry is competitive. I don't know what to expect, but I'm excited for Royal Rumble. I think I might have to go to this one. A top WWE executive is gone from the company. Frank Riddick, he's gone. Guys, this is the first major departure for WWE since the merger. PW Insider first reported today that the WWE Chief Financial Officer and Chief Administrative Officer Frank Riddick is set to leave at the end of this month. President Nick Khan did tell those in the company via a memo. Keep in mind, Riddick has not commented on this publicly, but John Pollock of Post Wrestling shared the memo, and this is crazy, really. I mean, for some of you guys who don't know who he is, you just need to know he's a very big deal within WWE. Nick Khan says Frank is a highly respected colleague, and it has been a pleasure to work alongside him. We are grateful for his counsel, support, and dedicated years of service, and wish him only continued success moving forward. It's a brief statement. But this is the first major WWE executive to be gone from the company. And look, Frank had he had big role within WWE. When you're the CFO, the CAO, it's a big deal. And I look at this as like, look, it's part of the business. Now, is this mutual? Is this him wanting to leave? Is this something where WWE told him ahead of time he probably won't be carried over? Obviously, when you have WWE and UFC merging, there's big changes there. As of now, there's been no updates on talent leaving, but I will keep you guys updated because there is some interesting stuff brewing. Once we get more details, I'll keep you guys updated on that. Becky Lynch won the WWE NXT Championship. For some reason, this is controversial on social media, probably because people are looking at a reason for hating every absolute decision that WWE makes, as if WWE has not done this before. WWE putting a championship on a main roster star. It's getting more eyes on NXT. WWE has some serious plans for NXT, and we know this because Nick Khan, Triple H, and the WWE have been very vocal about taking NXT to the next level. We've talked about it before. Nick Khan wants NXT to be somewhat of a third brand. Yes, it is developmental, but at the end of the day, they are looking at creating a big presence for this show, and they did it with Becky Lynch beating Tiffany Stratton. Now, for those who are going to come at me in the comments and say, well, Tiffany Stratton didn't need to lose. No, she took a major win. It was her best performance in WWE, and it came against the man, Becky Lynch. In addition to that, Becky Lynch will have to drop the title to somebody at some point. The good thing is there are tons of programs I want to see. If you don't watch NXT, you won't understand. If you do not watch this show every Tuesday night, you will not understand what I'm about to tell you. Aside from Impact Wrestling, the NXT Women's Division is the best women's division in pro wrestling. Raw, SmackDown, AEW Dynamite, Collision, Rampage, I don't give a shit what you name it. It's just true, man. I'm telling you guys something that, it's my opinion, obviously, but Impact and NXT, more women's main events, more women's matches without a title, more women on television, period. There's a lot of good stuff happening with the women's division. Becky Lynch is going to have some exciting matchups. And guys, I believe this is all happening for a reason. We will see what happens, but there are rumors that WWE could be changing nights for SmackDown to Tuesday. And the rumor is that WWE could potentially move NXT back on Wednesday nights based on the numbers that AEW is bringing in these days and what WWE NXT is bringing in these days. WWE could potentially move to Wednesday nights for NXT. And it could all be part of the grand plan from Nick Khan, who wants to take NXT more seriously. And as WWE tries to create that digital footprint that is everywhere, NXT being back on Wednesday nights could be a potential thing. And I don't know. I think it makes a lot of sense. You're bringing in Dom Mysterio on the Judgment Day and Becky Lynch. You're having them work with some of the top guys and girls of NXT. I think it's possible. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below, and I'll see you next time.